Why should you be working with a certified financial planner? And what in the world is a CFP?
Peak Wealth Management proudly presents Finding True Wealth with Nick Hopwood, where we believe by providing education and guidance, we help our clients make sound financial decisions, which ultimately puts them on a path towards their definition of true wealth. Now, here is your certified financial planner professional and founder of Peak Wealth Management, Nick Hopwood.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 47 of Finding True Wealth. I am your host, Nick Hopwood, certified financial planner and founder and president of Peak Wealth Management in Plymouth, Michigan. Today, I want to talk to you about what it means to be a CFP or certified financial planner and why you should consider working with a certified financial planner. The tricky thing about this industry is that it's hard to understand who is qualified and who's not. Just check out that commercial that the CFP board put out a few years ago. I'll provide the link for that, where they have a guy pretending to be a financial advisor, but really he's just a DJ. And the point is to illustrate that people couldn't tell whether he was qualified or not by meeting with him. So I understand that very well, that people oftentimes are meeting with financial planners and they're not asking the right questions. They're just unfamiliar, so it's hard for them to understand if this person is qualified or not. Oftentimes, maybe there's just a good sales pitch, and that's that. So experience is certainly good for an advisor to have, but it doesn't mean that their advice is in your best interest or high-quality advice at all. Working with a CFP is probably one of the easiest filters that you could apply to your advisor search process because it automatically filters for that experience, education, and ethics, but there are other things that are important as well. But let's talk about the history of the CFP designation. So again, CFP stands for Certified Financial Planner. It's arguably the most recognized certification in the financial planning, financial advisory industry. The designation is awarded by the Certified Financial Planner Board of Standards, and it's been around since 1985. So back in the day, they were a group of financial professionals who wanted to raise the standards of education and ethics in our industry. Some people are bad apples, and they wanted to have a way to differentiate. So there's always been bad actors, and there always will be. But if you are working with a CFP, I think that you are, limiting the probability that you have a bad actor and you're doing business with a bad guy. But there's no guarantee. But I think that you're probably avoiding a lot of those people because there's a tremendous amount of effort and work that someone needs to put into passing this test. And also they're agreeing to the ethics that the CFP board standards publish. So how do you qualify for this CFP? So I'll just kind of share my experience. Back in 2004, I started it probably 2003. I took the test in 2005. So it was a 2-year program. You take 5 or 6 classes. You pass a test for each one. And then you sit for the big exam. And back then, it was a 2-day test. I think now it's a 1-day test. But back in the day, it was a 2-day test on a Friday and Saturday. And it was only offered in the spring and in the fall. So I was gearing up for the spring, but I felt like I just wasn't ready. And so I ended up in the fall. But of course, the fall exam was only offered one weekend across the whole country. So if that date doesn't work for you, then you have to wait again until the spring. And of course, it was offered only on the Michigan-Ohio State football weekend in November. So I actually had to miss the 2005 Michigan-Ohio State game in Ann Arbor. And I'll remind you, that was the one where Ohio State quarterback Troy Smith engineered a come-from-behind victory in Ann Arbor, another devastating loss against the Buckeyes. Anyway, I took my classes through the College for Financial Planning in Denver, but now there are many others who offer this curriculum, including actual undergrad college programs. They didn't exist when I was in college at Michigan, but they do exist at some colleges now. And actually, TD Ameritrade is big on promoting the internships and the CFP programs all throughout the country. So it's kind of a hard process, and while technically not a master's degree, I kind of view it as a master's degree in financial planning, but that's not official. So, what doesn't the CFP mean? Just because someone has that designation doesn't mean that they're a great investor. It doesn't mean that they offer great service or that they have great technology. It just means that they've met these educational requirements, they passed this really hard test, and they agreed to the ethics standards. So it is a great starting point for filtering who you're going to work with. And generally, when you're speaking with a CFP, you're going to find that they have a lot of industry experience. The requirement is at least a few years before you can take the test. They're well-rounded with understanding of all these different areas that the exam covers in financial planning, such as investing, taxes, estate planning, insurance planning, retirement planning, college planning. So it's very broad, and they're going to be, well-versed in all these areas. Another certification which is very common in the financial industry is CFA, which stands for Chartered Financial Analyst. And it's very different than CFP. So at Peak Wealth, our business model is that we are the CFP. So I am your financial planner, and we partner with others who are CFAs, Chartered Financial Analyst. So we develop your financial plan 100% in-house, and then when we determine which investment needs are suitable for you, then we partner with the appropriate third-party institutional strategists through our UMAX platform, and those guys are the CFAs. So we like to say we have a very deep bench of over 100 CFAs. The CFA is much more heavy on accounting and security analysis and investment management, where the CFP is much more heavy in financial planning topics. So there's generally a little bit of overlap, but the CFA is very intense on investment management and very difficult. So if you have over $500,000 of investable assets and you're looking for a second opinion, give us a shot. I'm a CFP. I think you'll be impressed. And if you don't have $500,000 of investable assets, then we can still connect and talk about putting together a financial plan for you. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate your partnership. And as a reminder, we recommend listening in the Podbean app on your smartphone. Go ahead and make it official and subscribe.
You've been listening to the Peak Financial Minute with Nick Hopwood. You can subscribe to this podcast through iTunes and the Android Marketplace or by visiting www.peakwm.com. Peak Wealth Management is your premier wealth management partner. Plan, protect, peak. Securities offered through Regulus Advisors, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Peak Wealth Management, LLC, a state of Michigan registered investment advisor. Peak Wealth Management, LLC is independent of Regulus Advisors.